day of Sivan, the 16th of June, today's class, dedicated for, or by rather, Nathan Yadgar and family, Le'ilui Nishmat, his beloved grandmother, Marcel Batya Yaakov, Aliyah Shalom, Ilatzon, that to the words of Torah, her neshama, have an aliyah in Gan Eden. Amen. Today, we are going to be discussing a very beautiful topic, a very practical topic, a topic that actually is a continuation of something that we discussed, I believe, 2 days ago, concerning the concept of life. The concept of life. How much is life worth to the person? I say priceless. Priceless, right?
Yep.
You know, how much people invest to expand the life, to live a happier life, to live a healthier life, and longevity, a lot, correct?
Yes.
Now, we're going to speak about an investment that has nothing to do with the field of medicine, but it has to do with the field of action. So comes the Zohar Kadosh and it says, opening statement from the introduction of the Zohar of today, Mishenoten Sedaka Mosif Haim Beshefa Tov. I will translate. I said it in Hebrew, so it creates a great impact. And it says, who gives charity adds life and brings great amount of shefa. What's the meaning of the word shefa? I'm sure the Kahal Kadosh knows the answer. Abundance. Abundance. Now, who doesn't want abundance? We all want abundance. Shefa, beracha, beaslaha. Sometimes people give you a blessing and they say to you, Shefa, beracha, beaslaha. May you have an abundance of blessing and success. I think that is important to let the Zohar continue the speech instead of me. And let's quote a pasuk from David HaMelech that says, Pizar Natan La'evyonim. Pizar in English comes from the Lashon lefazer, spreading. Okay, let's say you go to the field and you plant seeds. What do? You spread them, you throw them to the earth, and that causes the seed to fall, and the rain becomes irrigation, so to speak, and you have probably fertilized the land, plowed the field, etc. And then what do you have? You have beracha. So it says the Zohar Kadosh, and it says, Pizar, Kam Shlomo HaMelech, and he says, Yesh mefazer benosaf od. There are people who give a lot, and they get more. Meaning to say, don't think for a moment, because you give charity, or you support a synagogue, or a kollel, or a high school, or a mikveh, that suddenly, oh, I gave tzedakah, automatically I'm going down. The opposite. Says Shlomo HaMelech, Yesh mefazer, the person that gives, benosaf od. God says, you invested in me, I'm going to invest in you. And that's why I think that is imperative to quote, I believe the Rambam Maimonides that says, Le'olam en adam ya'ani et atzmo me'asedaka. It's a guaranteed. You give, you will get back. That's why, if you remember, Perashat Kitisa, when the Torah talks about the mahasita shekel, right? The required half a shekel, let's call it in American standards, membership. That's basically what it was. The mahasita shekel was membership. In other words, I'm sorry if I sound not eloquent and proper at the next statement. I apologize in advance, especially I'm sitting in front of the Kohen Gadol. Okay? Now, imagine yourself, a person comes to our synagogue, okay, and enjoys the prayers, the learning, the breakfast, the seudot, everything that the synagogue has to offer. And if you want to know what the synagogue has to offer, I can give you a whole list at this moment. But at this moment, I'm not marketing for the synagogue. I'm only explaining the idea of the Mahasita Shekel and Perashat Kitisa, which is a perfect fit for the statement of the Zohar that we discussed so far. Okay? And then you don't show your Akarat Tov to the synagogue. Now, how do you show your Akarat Tov to the synagogue? You become a member, right? You purchase aliyot when the holiday comes. You donate here, you donate there, sponsor a nice breakfast like he suggested before. What happened to the sambusak and the shakshuka and the fruits and the sliced vegetables? Thank you for the idea. Now you gave me the opening. It's not me, it's him. Okay? But imagine yourself that a person says, you know what? I want to be part of this zechut. I want to be part, even a minuscule part, as the Gemara writes, Echad HaMarveh ve'echad HaMam'it. There are people who give more. There are people who give less. The more beracha you have, Hazak u'Baruch. But even if you do the membership, for example, which is known as the Mahasita Shekel, what was the purpose of giving a Mahasita Shekel? So every Jew, without exception, will have a share in the daily offerings and the holiday offerings that were offered on your behalf. Daily, Korban Tamid, in the morning and in the evening. And why? Why was given the Korban Tamid daily? And it's part of our daily prayers. In the morning and in the evening. Why did we give twice? Short answer, the more hiccup here. Who pays for those offerings? The money of the Mahasita Shekel that every Jew gave from the age of 20 and up to 60 at least. That was the membership that was required to give. Here, we try to do the best that we can. But some people don't understand it. But many people, Baruch Hashem, they do. They come, they give, they participate, and they feel it. So what happens? And it says, "My benosaf all." When Shlomo HaMelech says, "You give and you get more." What do I get more of? Comes the Zohar Kadosh and it says, "Nosaf all behaye." God gives you extra life in this world. How much is that worth? Priceless. Priceless. Comes the Zohar Kadosh, and it goes even further, and it says, why the reward of giving is life. Why to reciprocate money back isn't good enough? Of course it comes. Because guaranteed, the Pasuk says in Perashat Re'eh, I believe, Aser Te'aser. When Yom Tov happens to be on a Shabbat, I believe we go to Aser Te'aser instead of Kol HaBechor. Now, what's the meaning of Aser Te'aser? From this Pasuk, you learn a couple of lessons. Number one, how much you should give Ma'aser. 10% or 20%. From the Torah, 20%. Aser Te'aser. That's why the Torah says twice. Aser Te'aser. Homesh. No more than Homesh. Unless you are doing very, 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 very well. And I do know people, Baruch Hashem, that they do give Homesh every month. But start with the Ma'aser. And the other Pirush of the Gemara says, Aser bishbil shetit asher. You want to have guaranteed return financially, make sure to give the Ma'aser. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, I received an app from Mexico. It's called My Ma'aser. You basically you input the information, your gross income, your business expenses, and then gives you how much you have to give maaser, and then additionally it gives you another page that you can start writing who your maaser went through. You gave to the synagogue, you gave to the needy, you gave to the mikveh, you gave to the kollel. For example, these are valid deductions from the maaser. One more. I started to mention Perashah Kitisa, which is the Perashah of Mahasita Shekel. The Pasuk says, Benatenu ish kofer nafsho. Each person will give the redemption of their life. That is the meaning of that word. Now, we know that words in the Sefer, they have ta'amim. They have the tunes. You have tunes. Pasek, Rabia, Tevir, Zakef Gadol, Zakef Katon, all these wonderful ta'amim that if you pay attention to the good Torah readers, they are able to pronounce every single one of them. And there is one ta'am that is found in this particular word, venatenu. Venatenu means, and they shall give. The ta'am on that word is azla gerish. Azla gerish is this type of siman in the Sefer. Venatenu, and they shall give. That's the meaning of venatenu. Besides the fact that the word venatenu, I think in English it's called a polydrum. A word there is a you. How do you call this in English?
Polydrum, yeah. Polydrum.
I said it correctly. Chazaku Baruch. It paid to go to yeshiva. Beautiful. Okay, the polydrum. What is this? Look at the word. Ve, na, vav, nun, taf, nun, vav. Is a sandwich. That's an easier way of saying it. Vav in the beginning, vav at the end. Nun in the beginning, nun at the end. So what is the only thing in the middle that stands? The letter tav. So the Torah is telling you, us rather, because Baruch Hashem, we all are included in these. Venatenu, when you give out, comes back to you. That's why it's called Azla Gerish. You sent them back and came back. That's the meaning of that pasuk. You like it?
It's good. Wow.
You have to come all the way from New York City to listen to words of Torah. You listen to me, nighttorah.com. Okay, you good. Very good. Anyways, let's continue. So it says, the Zohar Kadosh, that even if, God forbid, that was a decree given to someone that needs to leave the world, through the giving, Garimle deitosef mechaim dele'ela. Now suddenly you shook the heavens. You created a reaction. Why? Very simple. A person gives charity to a needy person. What did you just do? You resurrected the person. The person didn't know where the food is going to be coming from, where the salvation will be coming. And suddenly, like we just saw now outside, a lady, and like this, we have hundreds of cases, hundreds, throughout the year. At this moment of the year, things are a bit quiet in that field. But you remember when we have 10, 12 people collecting a day? Heavy. Literally, especially in the winter months, that they come. And we try to do the best that we can. And there is no perfect system, by the way. We are trying every year, every season, learning from the situations of the past. And it says, the Zohar Kadosh, that because because when you give charity, especially to the needy, at that moment, it's like you are irrigating the tree of life. How the Torah calls the tree of life? Eitz Haim. Eitz Haim. As a pasuk. Eitz Haim hi lamahazikim ba betomcheha meushar. The Torah The Torah becomes a tree of life, and those that support the Torah, they are fortunate. What did you say?
So even when you give, sometimes they're not happy about it, like, oh, please, more.
So you're touching on a delicate point. The Rambam Maimonides discusses 8 levels of giving charity. The lowest level is to give unhappily. Unhappily. The highest level.
To receive unhappily.
No. That's a different story.
The receiver.
If the receiver is unhappy, that's a problem with the receiver.
Right, yeah.
But the giver should give with happiness.
Right.
Why? First, the highest level is when you give charity to someone. Giving charity is good and very important. But how far can the charity that I gave the person can go? Let's say I gave the person $5. Is like you give him the fish, teach him to fish, right? So the ultimate level is when you lift the person on their own feet. You give them a job, you give them a loan, you introduce them to someone that can really help them in a more meaningful way. And let's clarify, God forbid, we're not minimizing whatever each person gives. But whatever we give, try to give it with a smile. By the way, and I can speak now from my own personal experience, when many times people come to collect, I need to exercise an exorbitant amount of self-control, because many come with sometimes a certain behavior or attitude that it's not what we are accustomed to. And I tell them, I said, don't ask me to act in a way that is not me. I like to give with happiness. And if I'm not going to give with happiness, I don't want to give because you are pushing me against the wall. And guess what? From everyone in this room, I'm the one who gets it. Because they believe that I have Mr. Safra's checkbook in my office. True, by the way. True. I cannot answer you in public. I need to protect myself. I don't have it. Thank you. You understand? But this is the assumption that many people have. So I said, no, we try to do it in a respectful way. People contribute to the kuppah. Whatever comes to the kuppah, we give out. We don't keep it. We don't keep it. Baruch Hashem, and the holidays come. And you know, every holiday comes, we take care of it. In a 5-6 figures sometimes. 5 figures for sure. Special occasions we have, like we had this past Friday, everybody stepped up to the plate and we were able to take care of it. Several months ago, other unfortunate situations, people step up to the plate and give, and it's a great zechut to give. But once already given, give it with happily, because we always want to be on the side of the givers and not, God forbid, on the side of the recipients. Because to be on the shoes of the recipients, sometimes I ask myself, what has to do a person of very advanced age to come and to collect? If it's male or female. The Ribono Shel Olam. You're 60, 70, 80 years old. You still going noch Geld, the way they call it in Brooklyn? That's what it means, right? So comes the Zohar Kadosh, and it says, you know what else you're doing? You are putting money in your savings account in Shamayim. People have savings accounts, or I should say, people have savings accounts. If you live from paycheck to paycheck without having debts, Chazak Baruch, that's a reason to celebrate, right? With inflation and everything else, who knows what the future will bring. But anyways, there was a time that people were able to save money. And you put it in a CD, IRA, 401, or savings account. Guess what says the Zohar Kadosh? There is a savings account in Shamayim, not FDIC insured. Is God's insured. Doesn't get better. What is the savings account? Says the Zohar Kadosh that HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens an account for the person when we start giving charity. And for every time that we give charity, there is a credit posted in your passbook. Remember the passbooks in the olden days used to go to the bank? Okay, I remember it as a child. Used to be a passbook, you go to the cashier and you'll see the deposit and the withdrawals. Today it's all electronically, right?
The amount?
Huh?
Does it matter the amount of
No,
charity?
it's the action.
No. The question is, does it matter the amount of charity or the continuance of charity?
All of the above. First is the effort. But I want to tell you one thing. You want to fly to Israel for free. How do you do that? You need to have points available in your credit card, correct? You swipe the card and you get mileage, you get points. And then you can use that for traveling. Sounds good? Okay? Now, you need to be careful with that. With a credit card, you need to be careful with. Because if you're suddenly going to overspend just to buy a $2,000 ticket to Israel, $1,500, and you're in debt $100,000, forget about it, as they say. That's not the chokmah. But if a person that has management and good management of their finances and pays it with a credit card, at the end of the year, the person, let's say, spend $100,000 in credit card, you get maybe 100,000 points, depends on the credit card that you use, and guess what? You can buy a ticket, depends on the time of the year, round trip, for free. Round trip, I meant to say. So it says the Zohar Kadosh that in Shamayim is the same thing. Every time we give charity, there is a credit given to our account in Shamayim. But this credit has a specific purpose and benefit. This is an overdraft insurance policy. That meaning to say that if God forbid, Has v'Shalom, says the Zohar Kadosh, if about the giver of charity may have been a decree, God forbid, decree could be many different situations. The worst and ultimate decree is the point of no return. So what the Olam says, before the activation of that judgment, he says, hold on. He may have overdraft protection. Sounds banking enough to you to understand? Easy? Thank you. That's what the Zohar Kadosh says. We buy life insurance. How much costs life insurance? You don't answer me. Okay? But there is a secret in life insurance. The younger you are, the cheaper it is. And once the person reaches a certain age, or if God forbid, the person has certain medical conditions, guess what? Uninsurable. Can't get insurance. This is only on the planet Earth. In Shamayim, there is no age limit. You want to give $1 a day? Chazaku Baruch. You want to give 50 cents a day? Chazaku Baruch. Comes the Zohar Kadosh and it says, שנתוספת לו חיים בזכות זה כשצריך לכך. You have insurance. Let me ask you a question now. How many different types of insurances you have? Health insurance? Hopefully. Car insurance? Mandatory. Life insurance? Apartment insurance? Rental insurance? These are only 4 or 5. Yani, half of your income, it goes to pay insurance. And you need to pray that you never need to use it. Because suddenly you have the shtiks. Oh, Mr. Joseph, you have a $10,000 deductible. You have $5,000 deductible. No, this doctor is no longer in the network. Now it's out of pocket. So you have insurance and you need to pray that you never need to use it.
Amen.
Amen. You know how many times I hear this? First question, what insurance do you have? Oh no, the doctor is no longer affiliated. So what I need to do? Two options, find a new doctor or pay out of pocket. So then if you're paying out of pocket, why do you have insurance? But how can you sleep at night if you don't have insurance? You see the shtick that they have? And it's only getting more expensive every day. But don't worry about it. Soon Mashiach will come and all this is going to be gone.
Amen.
No bill paying. Maybe in the beginning you still have to pay the bills, but slowly we'll move into a position that it will be, Be'ezat Hashem, so much beracha for mankind and so many different levels that everything will be like automatic. That's why in Sefer Hasidim, I believe, he explains what is the meaning of the word shefa, or how do I acquire shefa. We already know that shefa is abundance. So far, so good. But the word shefa, the way it's written, it can be two different meanings. Shefa or pesha. God forbid. Shefa, pesha. Same letters, just reverse the order. Shin, pe, ayin. That means abundance, excessive amount of beracha, beautiful. Pesha means what? Crimes. That's the meaning of pesha. When somebody says poshea, that's not a good title to have. Poshea, run away from it. You get the shefa, not the pesha. So how do we get the shefa? How do we get that abundance that we discussed today? So we discussed one word of shefa, the pe, the mouth. The mouth, it's a catalyst to bring beracha to the person, or it can be the reason why our beracha it's blocked. We need to know this. The Gemara writes in Shabbat about a topic that we discussed not long ago. Kol menabel et piv, the Gemara writes. A person, God forbid, that when they speak, they use nibul pe. What's the meaning of nibul pe? Vulgarity, profanity. Yani a person speaks like someone from the street that has no derecheres and has no menschlichkeit or education. He's not a ben adam. He's not a ben adam. So what the Gemara writes? Kol menabel et piv. Afilu gazru alav 70 shana shel tova. The person was born with a guaranteed 70 years of blessings are ready for you. Just open the envelope. But suddenly, you can't open the envelope. The beracha is stuck somewhere. There is a clog in the pipe. If you look in the Ben Ish Hai prayer of Friday night before the Kiddush, Shefa me'aberecha ha'elyona, a blessing of abundance from the heavenly pool. There is a pool in Shamayim? Yes, there is a pool in Shamayim. This is called the pool of berachot. It's like there is a raffle and you're a guaranteed winner. It's an unbelievable deal. Everybody wins. We do the Sefer Torah raffle. Who wins? One person. Baruch Hashem. Thank God. Thank you for your support, by the way. Okay? One winner. We have the Kolel raffle. One major winner, two smaller ones. Chinese auction, like schools and institutions have. There is so many winners, but not everyone that participated is a winner. But in this says the Ben Ish Hai that the beracha of Shamayim, it's ready to come down for everyone. So we already discussed the fe of Pizar, of giving, the Shin of Shefa, Shabbat, which we always try to improve and to enhance, to welcome the Shabbat on time, to honor the Shabbat properly, to pray, to learn, and to follow to the best of our abilities all the halachot. That's the Shabbat. The Zohar Kadosh writes that the Shabbat is the distribution point of all of the berachot for the entire week. That means that the blessing that we have today, it's coming from last Shabbat. Now this new Shabbat comes up in 48 hours. We have a new dosage of berachot. And each day, Hashem sends the beracha accordingly. That's the shin of Shabbat. So we have Shabbat, Pizar, and the Ain. Pizar of giving out, that the peh of, and the mouth, that's the peh of Shefa. Then I have Anava, the Ain of humility. Sometimes people give, and humility is not always there. But there are people, Baruch Hashem, that they give, and they don't make a big deal out of it. Although there is a concept of publicizing the generous action of a person, that is only if the person agrees to this. That's why there are two types of givers. One giver is called Haroseh Be'ilum Shem. The person is giving, but he says, I'm giving, but please don't publicize my name publicly. It happened to me the other day. Somebody sponsored part of the calendar, Baruch Hashem, a month of the calendar, and he says, do me a favor, Rabbi, don't put my name. Put anonymous family. Chazak Baruch. I respect that. If that's your wish, we'll do that. But then, there is another statement that says, Mefarsemim Oseh Mitzvah. We publicize those who did a mitzvah. Why? Because that alone becomes a source of hizuk for others. And we see this in our synagogue often. Sometimes we have to subsidize a certain event or project for the synagogue. What do? He said, how are we going to do? To go one person to take care of the whole thing, that will be beautiful, but how realistic it is. So he said, you know what? Let's fraction the need to cover it. And you saw it last Shabbat with the calendar. When I woke up that Shabbat morning, I only have 1 month sold. By the time Musaf came, everything was gone. Is the zechut of the kahal? Let's clarify. Is the zechut of the kahal that steps up to the plate. We did it for Kippur. We did it for Sukkot. We did it for, we provide meals, every meal of Sukkot. Does it get paid? 2,000 meals we give out in Sukkot. Maybe more. Every Yom Tov meal, dinner at night. Do you think we open the door and the man comes from the Shamayim automatically? I wish will be that easy. But we have malachim. We have messengers of God. Okay, say me this, Saudah le'ayu nishmat, my grandfather. Okay, do this in honor of my wife. Smaller package, easier. And guess what? When we do things for the sibur, remember that the reward, the sechar, is not only on the action of whatever you did, but is multiplied by the amount of people that you impacted or you assisted. And especially going back to our Sukkot part of the Shiur, that most people by us live in condominiums. And most condominiums don't have Sukkot. So we are enabling the Kahal Kadosh to be able to fulfill the mitzvah from the Torah in eating in the Sukkah, in Sukkot. It's an unbelievable thing. It's not just sponsoring the food tray that comes to you. We need to be conscientious and financially responsible for the synagogue's well-being, because everybody needs to be careful with that. Comes the Zohar Kadosh, and it says that there is additional blessings, but we need to finish the class with a famous pasuk from Shlomo HaMelech that says, Uzdaka tasil mimavet. So powerful is the power of giving that is able to literally save the person from even, God forbid, the one-way ticket situation. I'd like to take, with your permission, 3 or 4 more minutes and discuss a fascinating, powerful message from Sha'arei Teshuvah that we started to learn yesterday. And it says, Ki musar Hashem itbarach letobat ha'adam hem. Says a person must know that Hashem loves us. And if the Torah may give a warning to the person, if it's Perashat Bechukotai, or if it's Perashat Kitavo, or if it's the life of the person, I don't know your life. I don't know your life. I only know what I'm able to know. You're a good person. I'll see you in shul on a regular basis. Thank God you have a beautiful family. You come from Egypt. You lived in Colombia. And Dayenu, I don't know what happens in your life. And only you and God knows. Only God and I knows what happens in my life. Same thing in your life. Even though sometimes you may share things that happen in your life, but most people live their life, hopefully, in a private fashion. Although I must say that there are exceptions. I know someone that vents to his friends every time there is a Shalom Bayit issue in his home. That's a recipe for disaster. Every time there is a hiccup at home, he shares it with his friends. Why does he do that? Maybe to gain sympathy. You understand? Unacceptable. Nonsense. In Spanish, you know this, in Spanish. In Spanish, I think the saying will go with like an English version, keep the dirty laundry in your home. No lavar los trapos sucios afuera de la casa. In Spanish is a longer version, but basically is the situations that are happening in your home, keep it to your wife, to your children, in your own home. Because God forbid, the moment that it goes out, sometimes could be the point of embarrassment and the point of no return, but it could be side effects that today you don't even pay attention to, but they may pop up when your kids need to get married. Your kids need to go on a shidduch. No, forget about it. It's a very problematic family. I remember the father used to tell me the drama with him and his wife. Forget about it. Can you imagine his wife being your mother-in-law? Sounds funny, right? Scary. But what happened? 10 years ago, the husband used to go to the friend and share all these situations, which even from a Shalom Bayit perspective, it's a recipe for disaster, but also from seniut, from modesty, from the modesty that a relationship must have. And I don't mean modesty in privacy. in the physical way. I'm talking about the modesty in your life. Your life doesn't need to be exposed to the world. We don't have paparazzis running after you. Look at the life of actors, actresses, sportsmen, and politicians. They are on the spotlight. And most of the time is gossip. Most of the time you need to put something that sounds exciting to keep up selling, the sales, the ratings, correct? That's part of what's happening today. The other day I got a link. Register for the Good News channel. Sounds good. Only share with you good news. I said, okay. Good news is good news. I like to hear good news. Who doesn't like to hear good news? I'm still waiting for good news. You know what? They sent one good news, something to do with the water in a certain town. Chazak Baruch. But look at the frequency of sad news and unhappy and unfortunate news. Yani every hour, every day. You can't go a day. There was a time 5 years ago that there was somebody that invested in a channel, in a TV channel, by subscription. The name was the Good News Channel. Guess what? Didn't last more than 3 months. Why not? Ask me.
Why not?
Excellent question, right? Nobody wanted to advertise. They had no advertisement. Maybe out of 10 requests, they got 1. They invested I don't know how many millions, and they have to throw in the towel. They sublease everything to the not good news channels. Comes the Musar of today and it says that Hashem has the belief in the person's improvement and refinement. The person must, says Sharet Teshuvah, the person must listen to the messages that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the person and not be oblivious to the messages that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the person. I'll finish with the following. What does it mean, being oblivious to the messages that Hashem sends us? I think Perashat Kitavo tells us, V'alachtem imi keri. V'alachtem imi keri. You walk with me like keri. What's keri? Keri is the name of an impurity that affects the men. Remember we discussed in Shovavim, the period of the Shovavim, that impurity, it's called Tum'at Keri. That's one explanation. But another explanation, the word Keri comes from the Lashon Mikre. Oh, it just happened. And when you have a setback or a situation, we are quick to point the finger to, oh, this happened because the President of the United States is increasing the cost of gasoline. That's happening because my relative said something. That's happening because my employee was negligent. This happened because the rabbi said the opposite. Every situation that we point the finger to others, in English it's called deflecting, I believe, right? That we're deflecting from Hashem's message, it doesn't help us. The opposite. It gives a message that the message that God sent me is not strong enough. Like I told you yesterday, the miracle of the car. Remember that?